Hey guys, today I'll be talking about 3 basic extended chords, how they sound, and a simple method to derive the notes inside these 3 extended chords. Before we begin, we upload videos on tips and tricks to play the piano by ear every Tuesday and Friday, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. Also, pitchgarden.com consists of multiple ear training exercises for you to practice identifying notes, sequences of notes, chords, and so on. So do check it out if you haven't already. Now, back to the video. Simply put, basic chords have 3 notes, and extended chords are just basic chords, but with more notes added to them. Extended chords can have 4 notes, 5 notes, 6 notes, or even more. But for today, we'll be diving into the basics of extended chords, and we'll be focusing only on 3 of them. Don't worry, as the 3 types of extended chords that we are running through today only have 4 notes each. To get the most value out of this video, you should already be kind of familiar with deriving basic major and minor chords. Don't worry if you're not that familiar, as we have another tutorial video here explaining just how to do that. To start off, let's listen to the difference between using basic major and minor chords and substituting them for extended chords. Notice that the version with the extended chords sound richer and more complex than the version with just the basic chords. Now let's get into finding the notes of extended chords. The first extended chord we'll be running through today is the dominant 7 chord. Dominant 7 chords are extensions of major chords. In other words, we can get dominant 7 chords from major chords by adding 1 note to the major chord. To find this 4th note, we simply take the last note of the major chord and move up 3 semitones in order to find the 4th note. Let's use the C major chord as an example here. The last note of the C major chord is G, and to find the 4th note, we move up 3 semitones from G. 1, 2, 3, and we land on the B flat. B flat is thus the 4th note of the C dominant 7 chord. And if we play the C major chord together with an additional B flat note, we get a C dominant 7 chord. Let's take a look at 2 more examples. Here is the G major chord, and the last note of the G major chord is a D. To get a 4th note of the G dominant 7 chord, we move up 3 semitones from D. 1, 2, 3, and we land on F. Once we add an additional F note to the G major chord, we get a G dominant 7 chord. Here is the A major chord, and E is the last note of the A major chord. To get a 4th note of the A dominant 7 chord, we simply move up 3 semitones from E, and we land on G. Once we add G to the A major chord, we have a A dominant 7 chord. Additionally, dominant 7 chords can also be known as 7th chords in short form. For instance, C dominant 7 can also be known as C7, G dominant 7 can also be known as G7, and A dominant 7 can also be known as A7. Here's an example of a dominant 7 chord in action, and do take note of how different it sounds compared to a major chord. The second extended chord we'll be running through today is the major 7 chord. Similar to the dominant 7 chords, major 7 chords are also extensions of major chords, and we simply need to add 1 note to major chords to turn them into major 7 chords. To find the 4th note of major 7 chords, we take the last note of the major chord and add 4 semitones to it instead of 3 in the case of dominant 7 chords. Once again, let's use the C major chord as an example. Here, G is the last note of the C major chord, and when we move up by 4 semitones, we land on the note B. Once we add B to the C major chord, we get a C major 7 chord. Using another example, here is the G major chord. We want to find a G major 7 chord, so we take the last note of the G major chord, which is D, and add 4 semitones to it, landing on F sharp. Once we add F sharp to the G major chord, it becomes a G major 7 chord. Once again, here is the A major chord. We take the last note E and move it up by 4 semitones and land on G sharp. If we add G sharp to an A major chord, we get an A major 7 chord. Here is an example of a major 7 chord in action along with a dominant 7 chord as well as a basic major chord, so do take note of how different the 3 chords sound. The third and last extended chord we'll be running through today is the minor 7 chord. As opposed to the earlier 2, minor 7 chords are extensions of minor chords. To get minor 7 chords, we add 3 semitones to the last note of the minor chord in order to get a 4th note, and add this 4th note to the minor chord to get a minor 7 chord. For instance, here is the A minor chord, and to find the fourth note to turn into an A minor 7 chord, we take the last note of the A minor chord, E, and add 3 semitones to it, hence landing on G. Once we add G to the A minor chord, we now have an A minor 7 chord. Similarly, here is a C minor chord, and to find the fourth note to turn it into a C minor 7 chord, we take the last note of the C minor chord, which is G, and add 3 semitones to it, hence landing on B flat. If we add B flat to the C minor chord, it becomes a C minor 7 chord. Here's an example of a minor 7 chord in action compared to a minor chord. The difference in sound and feel are not as drastic as the previous examples, but extending a minor chord to a minor 7 chord does make it sound slightly sadder. Do take note of the differences in how they sound. As such, here is a short summary of the 3 extended chords we have learned today. Note the chord symbols in the second column for each extended chord, starting on C as an example, as these chord symbols are what we will be seeing in fixed sheets, chord sheets, and other musical notation. Dominant 7 chords are represented by its starting note, followed by just a 7. Major 7 chords are represented by its starting note, followed by a MAJ7. And minor 7 chords are represented by its starting note, followed by a M7. With that, thanks for watching, and I hope you have learned something new today. And do leave a like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Also, Pitch Garden is a year training platform with multiple progressive exercises to help you practice identifying notes, sequences of notes, chords, and so on. Do check out Pitch Garden if you haven't already, and hope to see you there.